what the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Guys, I'm over here thinking I'm slick, scheduling this to go live 10 whole minutes in advance. Little did I realize I actually mistakenly said I was going to go live at 10:25 p.m. instead of 10:25 a.m. So all you guys probably didn't get any notifications anyway. But in better news, guys, I hit every single green light on the way back to the hotel from the courthouse on my little Scooty McScoot. I got here in 5 minutes flat. That has never happened before. It is obviously an omen that we're getting a guilty verdict today. Obviously. Okay, so let me tell you what happened this morning. This is actually very interesting. It actually brought some things into focus that hadn't actually been clearly in focus for me before somehow. Okay, the jury requested a playback of 2 excerpts of the police interview that Jane Doe 3 gave to the LAPD in Austin. By the time Jane Doe 3 came forward to the police, she had moved from California to Austin, Texas. She went into the Austin police station and filed a report. The detectives from the LAPD actually flew out to Austin to interview her in that police station. Here's something to truly keep in mind as we discuss the interview. For Jane Doe 3's testimony, there are 2 separate incidents that have been discussed and testified to on the stand. We're going to one is the November incident. We're going to call that the hair pulling incident. The other is the December incident. We're going to call that the La Poubelle incident. Now, in the November incident, take a step back. La Poubelle is a restaurant that Danny and Jane Doe 3 would go to all the time. It's Danny's favorite place to go. In fact, the owner of La Poubelle, not a Scientologist, has actually been in court every single day to support Danny Masterson. A strange business decision that she's made. In the La Poubelle incident, Danny Masterson drugged Jane Doe 3's wine and then raped her that evening. In Jane Doe 3's mind, it was this incident that she was reporting to the police. That incident is not the incident that Danny Masterson is on trial for. Danny Masterson is not charged with that incident. We're going to call that the December incident or the La Poubelle incident. There's also the November hair pulling incident. When Jane Doe 3 came forward to the police, it was not to report the November hair pulling incident. So the November hair pulling incident is essentially an instance where Jane Doe 3 woke up. Remember, they were in a long-term relationship. I think altogether they were together for like 6 years. Jane Doe 3 woke up with Danny Masterson having intercourse with her. That's not unusual in this relationship. She said that happened all the time. That wasn't unusual. What was unusual about this incident was that it's the first time she actually not only said no, but held her ground and actually yanked his hair to pull him off of her. And it's the first time Danny ever struck her. It's the first time Danny ever hit her. The only reason the November hair pulling incident came up in the interview with the police is because they simply asked her a question about other instances of domestic violence. And so she mentioned this incident. It's not why she was there talking to the police. And yet it is this November hair pulling incident that Danny is charged with, forcible rape. Now you might go, well, why isn't he charged with the La Poubelle drugging rape? Because in California, in the state of California, drugging someone and raping them is rape, but it's not rape by use of force. And taken individually, the 3 charges that Danny Masterson is facing, or the 3 crimes that he's charged with committing, are strictly speaking past the statute of limitations. What allows these charges to be brought is because when force is used, the statute of limitations changes. And also based on, I'm going to get this wrong, but based on some sort of a 1-strike law, if multiple attacks, rapes, are charged together, and if they use force, then the statute of limitations, it either doesn't apply, or there's an exemption to them, or it's a different crime. I don't claim to know the intricacies of how this works legally. For this reason, the testimony goes back and forth a lot between the November incident and the December incident. Cohen claims, Philip Cohen, the defense team, that in the November incident, Jane Doe 3 doesn't even claim that there was actual intercourse. Because in her conversation with the detective, she uses the word trying to. And when Jane Doe 3 was being cross-examined, this, of course, came up. Isn't it true that you told the detective he was trying to have sex with you? And she goes, no, that's not actually what I said. I think, and she goes, I see what you mean. She goes, look, trying to, she goes, I'm a Southern girl. Trying to means doing, depending on how it's used. And it was actually a pretty funny part of her testimony where she goes, if I'm in a grocery store shopping and you call me on my phone and you say, hey, what are you doing right now? She goes, I'm going to tell you I'm trying to shop. I thought it was great testimony. And I think this is why in the beginning of this little intro, I clarified that in this interview, she didn't go there to talk about the November incident. So when they ask her, well, is there any other instances of domestic violence? She mentions this other incident because Danny hit her. He didn't mention the incident because she woke up to him having intercourse with her. And yet, while the district attorney was reviewing all of the police reports and the interviews and the evidence, it is the district attorney who chose to select the November incident as the charged incidents. Okay, so I'm telling you all this because the video that the jurors requested to see a playback of is the portion of the interview where she is talking about the November hair pulling incident. And I believe what they wanted to see is what were the words Jane Doe 3 voluntarily offered up, and what were the words that the detective sort of, I won't say put into her mouth, but repeated back to her. Jane Doe 3 has said she didn't, if she describes an incident and the detectives want to repeat back to her what the incident, how they understood what she said, she never felt the need to correct them or whatever because she figured they knew what she meant. So what'll happen is Jane Doe 3 will say some words. The detectives will repeat back some words to her that aren't precisely what she said. And Jane Doe 3 will go, yeah, sure, yes. Philip Cohen tends to seize on the words the detectives used instead of using just the words that Jane Doe 3 used. And this is the part of the transcript that part of the video they wanted to have played back. There was a second part of the video that they wanted to play back, which was about the La Poubelle drugging incident. And in that second clip, there was also a portion of the testimony where Jane Doe 3 was with Danny Masterson. They were hanging out at a hotel with some other people, like the hotel restaurant. And as they were leaving the hotel with Jennifer Esposito, who's an actress, Danny was like yelling profane things at her, saying, hey, show your, anyway, he was yelling profane things at her. Jennifer Esposito's boyfriend was there, got pissed off and beat the living hell out of Danny Masterson in the middle of Sunset Boulevard. I always enjoy when that story gets repeated. So it was funny that got replayed today. Okay, so that was it. That's all that happened. It's very hard to truly guess why the jury wanted this part played back. But here's my guess. At the end of Jane Doe 3's testimony, Jane Doe 3 had said, no, those weren't my words. Those were words the detective used. Those weren't my words. The detective sort of repeated that back to me, and I just said yes. At the very end of Jane Doe 3's testimony, Philip Cohen was about to play a portion of the interview and say, look, I just want to go, for the record, I just want to be very clear. I want to show everyone exactly what Jane Doe 3's words were and what the detective's words were, because Jane Doe 3 keeps saying the detective put these words into her mouth. I want to replay a portion of this video so everyone can see they were Jane Doe 3's words. He never got a chance to play that video section because Jane Doe 3 started to get upset. And when I say get upset, she was having a little bit of emotion. I don't know, is breakdown the right word? I want to say panic attack, but I don't want to exaggerate it. It's not like there was a huge deal happening on the stand. She just needed a moment, and the judge basically offered to give her a break, and she was like, I don't really need a break. But the judge basically made a decision that her testimony could end right at that moment. That's right. Jane Doe 3 said, look, I really want to get home. I really want to see my kids. And the judge decided that's okay. We don't need to move forward with this right now. That's right. She told Cohen at that time, look, the point that you're about to make, you can make that point when the detective takes the stand. You don't actually have to make that point right now with Jane Doe 3 on the stand, and she let Jane Doe 3 end her testimony. I believe when going through all the evidence in the testimony, the jury said, hey, that thing that Cohen was going to show us and we didn't actually see it, let's just take a look at that again and let's see what was going on there. I think that's why they wanted this playback. Beyond that, I just can't make any speculation as to what this means for the deliberations. Let me see if there's anything else on my notes here. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. And again, I just feel the need to reiterate the fact that, like, you know, I know the defense's job is to create reasonable doubt, but to make a giant issue over what specific details Jane Doe 3 didn't mention about the November incident in the first time she interviewed with the police, knowing gosh darn well that there was no reason for her to get into all the details of that incident because it wasn't the incident she was there to discuss. And also, I got to be honest, what really bothers me about this particular recording and how the detective conducted this interview is that the detective's questioning or lack of follow-up allows this portion of the interview to be ambiguous, to be unclear, because all the detective had to say was, you said he was trying to force himself inside you. He was trying to have sex with you. Did he succeed? Was there penetration? All she had to do is ask that one question to clarify. And yet it's left unclear. And that is clearly something the defense has tried to use against Jane Doe 3. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I consider it to be a bit sloppy police work. What do I know, guys? I grew up in a cult. It's not my area of expertise. That's it for now, guys. I do actually have high hopes we're going to get a verdict by 4 p.m. this evening. We'll see. I'm optimistic. Okay, I see a couple comments here. Destiny Salazar. Law and Crime just posted a summary of the case. It is painfully uninformed. Thank you for bringing us transparency each and every day. Yeah, I wonder how they even got their summary. There's no one there unless they interviewed Tony. I mean, Law and Crime doesn't have anyone there that I know of. I'll check out their video. I'll see what they did. Thank you, Destiny. Summer Sun, AA Run. I did the catch-up trick on this video. Thank you. Yes, watching the videos, if you join a live stream late, watching the video on 1.75 speed or 2x speed is a great way to get caught up. That's what I do with Mark and Claire Headley's videos all the time, and Mike Rinder and Amy Scobie's videos. All right, everybody, that's all I got. Hang in there, guys. We just might have a verdict today. And if we do, you know I'll bring it to you. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe